It's the most wonderful time of year, and I finally got around to checking out Terrifier 3. Even though I'm a few weeks late to this movie, there was no way in hell that I was going to miss this movie in theaters before the spooky season was over. Taking place 5 years after the events of Terrifier 2, Sienna is having PTSD after her encounter with Art the Clown in Terrifier 2. For every jolly good fellow, there is always that one Grinch that has to come into town and ruin the fun for everybody. I'm that Grinch this year. Even though I really enjoyed this movie to a certain extent, I was left a little bit underwhelmed. I'm not sure how much of it has to do with the fact that this movie was kind of hyped up for me, but overall, it's still a movie that I pretty much enjoyed and had a lot of fun with. With Terrifier 3, Damien Leone steps up not only just the practical effects, but also the kills that we got in here. With the amped up budget he got for Terrifier 3, he uses that budget to create some wonderful practical effects and brutal kills. If you've seen Terrifier 2, the one thing that will come out of that film is the bedroom scene. There's one kill in here in the shower scene that might come close to rivaling that scene for me personally, because I caught myself at points wanting to laugh and just wanting it to stop. The way that Art the Clown kills this person is just so brutal that it's hard for you not to look away, but at the same time, it's also hard for you not to laugh. That's the one thing that you kind of expect going into Terrifier 3. You're expecting to see how Damien Leone is going to step up the kills and the gore in Terrifier 3 from Terrifier 2, and that's what he's great at with Terrifier 3. Not only does he really improve his directing style in here, but he also was able to create some wonderful cinematography. He was able to get some beautiful shots in here that I really enjoyed seeing, and I wanted to see what he was going to be able to do behind the camera again, and he just absolutely delivers in that department. There is never a slightly boring moment in here. You're fully invested from beginning to end, and I think that is where a lot of his passion really comes through when it comes down to Terrifier 3. You definitely see the passion that he has in here, and you definitely see that from beginning to end, because seeing how we were going to be taking Terrifier 3 in the Christmas season, there was a lot that you were able to do, and a lot that I thought you could have done a little bit more of, but I still enjoyed his direction in here. Not only did I enjoy Damien Leone's direction and practical effects in here, but also I think he gave David Howard Thornton full creative control of what to do with Art the Clown. Not only is he more sadistic and more vile than he was in Terrifier 2, but it felt like David Howard Thornton was able to not only just give us a little bit more spice to Art the Clown, but also be able to give us some new dimensions to this clown that he was able to play up, not just with conversations that he hears other people having and his reaction to that, but also some goofy moments here and there where he's able to feel like he's able to express himself a little bit more freely. And you can definitely tell that David was having a lot of fun playing this character, because I feel like he just fits this role perfectly, not only just with his mannerisms, but also with just the way that he goes around killing people and all the ways that he gets to be a little bit more sadistic. That made me enjoy the movie a little bit more than I did in Terrifier 2, because even though I think this movie isn't as good as Terrifier 2, his performance as Art the Clown in here is definitely amped up a little bit more. You're definitely seeing how more chaotic he's able to get, especially with the Christmas aesthetic, the Christmas theme that we have in this film. He's able to be a little bit more freely, and I think he added a little bit more of that joyness to his character. There are moments in here where you're kind of feeling like it's a little bit more heavy. Damien Leone definitely goes a little bit further in here than he does in Terrifier 2, and he uses those moments to great effects, because there are so many moments in here where it almost feels like it's shock value, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it's doing it for the sake of shock value. It's doing it in the sake for this character and how vile and ruthless he is, how ruthless he can get with people outside. You see that he definitely has no morals, and no limits as to how far he is going to go when it comes to the kills. So seeing David Howard Thornton portray Art the Clown, I think this was the best performance that he gave in this series, because it does feel like he was able to get a little bit more free reign in what he's able to do and how much he wants to express Art the Clown, that it makes it a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more fun for fans of Art the Clown. One of the biggest surprises of Terrifier 2 was Lauren Lavera as Sienna. Not only did they give her a great backstory, but she was the highlight of Terrifier 2. I had never seen her in anything before Terrifier 2, and she just absolutely delivers her performance in that movie. There are so many levels to her character in that movie that when it comes down to Terrifier 3, she's dealing with a lot of PTSD, but she's kind of dealing with it alone. She goes to visit her aunt and uncle, where she is going to be meeting up with her brother later on, and just seeing how she has been dealing with the effects of Terrifier 2, she sells you on the emotional baggage that she has to go through, because she's dealing with a lot of this baggage alone. And there are a lot of people on two different sides. You have her aunt and uncle that are trying to take care of her and make sure that she's not having another episode, even though it's hard for her not to, especially with the medication that she is taking. She's kind of having that survivor's guilt, and the way that Damien Leone portrays that, I thought was just done pretty well. It shows the effects of trauma and just how it's hard to let everything that happened in the past is making it hard for her to move forward. She's having visions, she's seeing Art the Clown everywhere she goes, and she wants to be able to let go of the past. It's just little moments like that it's really hard for her to really let go and not be able to move forward, especially with her dealing with this alone, because her brother is off on the other side of the world in college, and he's kind of having the same things going on, but at the same time he's dealing with it in a different way than Sienna. And I thought those moments were really well done. I really enjoyed the direction that they took these characters in, and Lauren Lavera delivers another fantastic performance. This is an actor that you need to keep your eyes on, because she is here to stay, and I hope that she's able to thrive in her career. She is just absolutely fantastic. The levels and ranges that she has to go through is just absolutely wonderful, and I really dug her performance in here. Now, going into the things that kind of just left me a little bit more disappointed, there are some downtime moments here and there in the second act that I started losing a little bit of interest, but at the same time, there were moments when it started to pick up a little bit for me. It starts to get a little bit slow in the second act, and I kind of wish they did a little bit more to amp it up just a tad bit more, because it was starting to lose my interest. But really, the one thing that left me a little bit disappointed, and I might be on the lone ship of this, but there was a lot of hype coming out of the festivals for this movie, and seeing a lot of talk saying that this was going to be a very controversial movie from beginning to end. Don't get where those reactions were coming from. I get the opening of the movie, especially after the teaser trailer for this movie came out about a year ago. There was going to be a lot of speculation about Art the Clown going one step further than he actually did in Terrifier 2, and if he was actually going to go to those distance. And he does. He goes to a large distance, to the point where he is leaving no stones unturned. If he was a video game, he would be rated E for everybody. Everybody is on his list. Everybody is not safe from Art the Clown, and there are definitely little ones that are not safe from Art the Clown. I feel like, for me, I get why they didn't show the acts being performed on screen. There is still this sensitivity about child deaths on screen, and I might just be on the lone ship, but when you have a killer like Art the Clown, I kind of wish they did show them instead of just feeling the effects off screen. You do feel the effects off screen, and it does make it a little bit more harder to watch, especially when you have a lot of the sound effects. There are some kills in here that are shown on screen that will just absolutely blow your mind and catch you off guard. But I think that was just really the most disappointing side for me. It was the fact that they didn't really show it on screen, and I thought they were going to show it on screen, because hearing all the reactions to this movie from not just from festivals, but from people that had seen early screenings of this movie saying how a lot of people were walking out in the first 5 minutes, how it was just grotesque and brutal. There was a lot of people throwing up, and they even had like I'm not sure how many theaters actually had the vomit bags, but there were some theaters that were having some vomit bags just in case people were fainting. And I was waiting for this movie to get controversial because I heard a lot of people saying coming out of the festivals that this movie was going to be very controversial. And halfway through the film, I was just sitting there like, when does the controversy start? Because half of the things that I've already seen in other horror movies. Say like your It, your Hostel, your Saw. Nothing in this movie I felt was controversial, and that just might be me. I don't mind gory films if they're done well and they're done to a certain extent. But overall, it's still a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. David Howard Thornton definitely amps up his performance as Art the Clown. He's able to do a little bit more free reign stuff with this character and give this character a little bit more of a personality like he did in Terrifier 2. Lauren Lavera is fantastic in this movie. She carries this movie from beginning to end, and Damien Leone is definitely stepping up not just behind the camera as a director, but also when it comes down to the practical effects and the gore. It's still enjoyable. I still had a lot of fun with it. Don't enjoy it as much as Terrifier 2, but overall it's still a movie that it's worth checking out in theaters. But if it's not playing in a theater near you, it's definitely worth watching on streaming. But those are my thoughts on Terrifier 3. Have you guys checked it out? Is this a movie that you absolutely love a lot more than me, or is this a movie that just left you disappointed? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys for the next video.